Hi, everybody. I'm Trader Max, and I'm here on this. This is a little bit of an unusual one. I would normally pass a community over like this. Either a community is too big or too small, right? Too small, the $1,000 market cap, right? I could do stuff. I could help with that. I could help build from that. But that's a different mentality I'm looking at, right? They probably got maybe 200 people. They don't really have a shield team. Or they're maybe be too big. They're up in $1 million, $2-3 million cap. They're already into a level of, oh, we already got it. We got this made. We're going to be doing stuff. And as I look at this chart, I'm on 15 minutes. If I shoot down to daily, it kind of squeezes all over the place. Wish this thing had a memory to it. I look at this as the daily chart, and we see that there's way huge volatility movement happening. Right now, we know that every new coin has volatility, especially in its beginning. But I would have loved to know the story, and I will find out the story here because I'm working in this room. And again, today I was in a space, took me to a room, which took me to another room, which took me to another room, took me to a dude, and he led me here, and I watched this. That sounds like a really bad story, and I'm living in a van down by the river, right? But it came down to that the one community that this person was in had a lower market cap, of course, and they're looking to reestablish it and how to reestablish it. And I look at all kinds of levels of communities and where I can help and where I can't. When they're up in $1 million, $2 million market cap and things are going good, and things are going good, there's not much that I can do because they're hard of listening, they're hard of hearing at that point. One thing that I have found is the world of trading is not about how smart you are. And I know it sounds really stupid, but it's not about how smart you are. It's about your intuition, not a flip of a coin, right? We're not talking about that. It's your patience and it's your determination. The first level that I look at to see here is that this is a nice sweep up. It's nice, powerful momentum was gotten. I don't mind so much the big movement here. This is 2 million, so that's a lot of movement. That's a lot of market movement, right? This process of movement doesn't concern me because I ignore it. I ignore it because it is a flash in the pan. What I look for are the smooth lines of division. Now, what is a division? What is a level of division, right? Let's look at that for a second. Let's find the longest piece. Remember, this is a daily chart we're looking at. What is the division? So even a trend line is considered division when it honors some values, right? Some sweeps down, sweeps up. Lower lows, right? Lower lows, lower highs. It's a downtrend. Now, does this make an uptrend? No, not until it has consistent value. I have a algorithm that I call consistent. So it's C plus V equals G. Consistency plus volume equals goal. Now, I want you to remember that because that is your new flux capacitor. You have to find consistent values of trend and movement in order to trade volume to equal your goal. And what is your goal? Is to always be in profit. Somehow, some way, this thing needs to move to a level and trade that level. Now, you could be at 175,000 market cap if that's what you want. Now remember that each new division that you get to will cost you more to buy into the game. You'll pay more for less coins. So keeping it you don't want to keep it at this level. They don't want to seem like farming, right? You don't just sell off so you're still in that level. That'd be very vicious. If you want this thing to have generational wealth, I can show you how to do that as well. But the concept here is to find the divisional channels to trade and trade with smart decisions. And I'm going to give you something here because most of you think, if it doesn't do exactly what I want and it goes in the opposite direction, I've lost my money. So the first thing we got to do is change the way you think about money and how it works in this process. Some of you got into these and some of you are super whales, right? You own 1%, 2%, 5%, whatever it is. You own 5% of this. You're whalish. You're so whalish, you're bullish, right? So in this mentality, what we're going to get into is I'm going to now start to spread down. This video is going to be a little longer. I'm sorry. You're watching this. You want to hear me? That's okay. I promise you. I'm never going to steer you in a position where it's just for me. This is more about you. I have nothing to lose whether this goes up or not. I'm not vested in it. This is the first coin read I'm doing that I'm not vested yet. And I'm doing it for a particular reason. So I'm going to drop down into a 15-minute. If you don't know the differences of the time scale here, right? And this is where nobody wants to explain this stuff to you. They're all going to try, oh, you got a Miranda movement going on. And you know, everybody has some great jargon to throw in your face. I'm going to keep it sweet and simple for you. I'm not going to talk to you like you're stupid, but I'm going to talk to you like you're a real person who can understand real terminology, which is simple. When you're on a day, you're looking at months. When you're on 4 hours, you're looking at weeks. When you're on 1 hour, you're looking at multiple days, maybe half weeks. And when you're on a 15-minute chart, you're looking at day trading. Nothing more, nothing less. Anything below that, you're neurotic if you go to 5 minutes because you got nothing better to do. Maybe you popped too many Mentos and Coke. I don't know, whatever it would be. We don't need to go back too far, right? Because this is the history of its moving. This is relationship. This is the dawn of man. This is the extinction of dinosaur, you know. So, but where I'm looking at, and what you all should be very proud of, if you've been hustling and bustling this entire time in this is where you should be looking. This is a very large divisional channel. And what I mean by very large, I mean fucking very large. Now, why is that important? Well, divisional channels have multiple markups. They have multiple areas of buying power. God, I hate when this does it, like clips in. I gotta remember how to do it. I just haven't traded with Pine Script for a while. Oh, by the way, this whole chart system is TradingView, so I'm very familiar. I used to write TradingView values and support and resistance markers and all that stuff. I don't do that stuff anymore because it's awfully confusing. When I can teach you how to do it with drawing just a few simple lines, takes a couple minutes, and boom, you got it. Or you know what highs and lows are, you know all that kind of stuff. So we're going to bring this down probably right about to there, because support and resistance is never a single line. It's a average. It's an area of little highs and lows in there. So we're just going to pin this last. What is this? June 8th. So this is about a month worth of time here. And as we scroll in, we're going to scroll in some. We're going to spread this up here. We're going to come in up. I can't draw my lines too straight apparently, so I'm going to bring that in like that and bring it down here like that. Okay. Now, once I start scrolling, I start seeing how sloppy I am. I apologize. It's like 10:30 at night and I've been up since 4. Okay, we're going to put that right about there. Now, along the way, there's other secondary lines in this channel, right? But how big is this channel? 162K market cap to 1.08 million. That's pretty huge, right? It's about an 8x from there to there. You got some big lines going on because you probably had some bigger whale apes, ape whales come in, right? And you probably maybe cleaned house. You maybe had some bot runners in there. I'm not sure. I can't tell you exactly. But as this descending trend start to really kick you in the nuts every day, there were buy-in patterns all the way along the way. And when you can recognize them, even when trending down, you can still buy. The reason why we do some of this is because we can clean off of our palette certain trade values, right? But we really want to look at certain things. Now, this didn't commit to an upward trend all the way, but it did give you a bigger buying pressure. Why? Because when you have a downward trend, so you're looking for, here's the apex, 1, 2, 3. You draw a trend line, and this is not a valid trading technique right now. I'm just showing you that this is just one, right? And you find the apex through. This stupid thing's killing me. Okay, you find the trend line there, and we're doing this, hindsight 2020. I would have really drawn it like this, but it also depending how far it was and where the level was down here, right? I would know that this would have been a bottom level here. This would have been close, but as it came down and pushed up, I would have automatically probably done a buy here, and it would have fallen, came in, and retraced and came out. Now, it would have held for a little while, and I probably wouldn't have made too much from that point. Knowing that the trend, the next lower level here, I would have probably either closed out my profit or if I had any profit, or I would have just closed out the trade completely, never really losing what I put in. Now, if I buy in, but this is the $1 million level, right? So what is that? You come in, you put $100 down, you got maybe 20,000 coins. At that point, maybe not even. So you don't have a lot. So trading at this level, you got to have the volume to be able to do that, right? The volume is how much money you got each day. So you wouldn't have seen what was going to happen. But you also didn't have, if you didn't look at the market as stable, you're trying to buy off a valid level up, right? This is a huge level up. I would have probably waited out to settling. And what's settling? That's when it starts to settle into a channel. And you want to see it that it's consistent, right? Like this big push up here, this was just waiting for the days for it to fall. The real channel is what you're in now. Let's pop back down here and get in this little butte right here. This is what I like to see. This is a 2x, 2.5x right here, right? Maybe. 300,000 to 150. A beautiful little 2x. This does not mean you're going to wait a full day to trade, right? Because this is back on the 2nd of July and here's today. But if we come in closer and we rake this back in, there's a lot of little areas of trade contention, right? And what I mean by that is that you can set different levels to purchase, and when things bounce, right? We know bouncing there, right? We had levels set, preset to, this is referred to as a resistance zone, okay? Bounced off that resistance zone. We know it was probably going to go down. If it pierced up, this would be a good buying pressure at that point. As it comes back down and starts to make its decisions, we can now start to see a relative trend. The relative trend being, again, right about out to here, as long as the margins make up. We can even use a Fibonacci to do that as well, which I would show you later on. But the simplicity is that even drawing some simple lines, any caveman can draw lines. And as it pierces up, and we don't really see it going down too much further from here, but you are getting a descending trend line again, except for this. This is the one that's really kind of punching it in the face right there, right? Because we're now looking at a possibility of a reversal to come up and to be up here over a longer period of time. I know, this is a lot of speculation. I'm not even aped into the game yet. But why I'm telling you this is that my experiences of teaching people how to trade is powerful, because I take the complicated and I make it simple. Lastly, how you trade is almost important as a signal to trade. If this particular process, let's say some of you, let's say you got 1% of the supply right now, and you're hating life because you're waiting for it to rise. You had a huge amount, you never aped out because you didn't want to hurt the market, and you didn't want to take profits away, you didn't want to take your coin, and all that kind of good stuff. Then here's how you would trade it on a daily divisional network, just like this. As you look at this market, find more capital. That's all I can tell you. Find more capital, don't trade your previous bag. Set the coins in at the value that it's at. Let it produce up. If it doesn't, then you can do one of two things. If it does break the trend line and you buy in, say with another 200 coins or 5,000 coins or whatever it might be, and it goes up a certain amount, you never want it to try to meet the furthest market can go, right? Because there's something else in between called the mean. And the mean is mean. Trust me, I know, right? It's always about the mean. Everything returns to mean. I can tell you that for sure. I can show you 1,000 different charts and it's always going back to the mean. And that's what we're looking for here. Mean trading. Pierces in, goes to the mean. And what is that? Pierces in, stops right here. That's 182, up, 234. That's 50,000 market cap. How much is that compared to your 100 coins? It's speculative, right? Maybe not a lot. But remember the algorithm C plus V equals G? How do you get your market each day? Well, if you trade with 1,000 coins and you want to see a certain amount of deliverance from that point there to that point there, then you just trade with more volume to get to your goal. Now, once you see the trigger and you learn how to take profits, how much to take profits, and what you do with the rest of it is very important. The algorithm of how much is really up to you. But my suggestion is you do a 25%. So you take off your 75% of your trade, not the entire bag, right? You take off 75% of your trade. No matter what it is up here, even if you're making just a couple $100 or $1,000. You understand? But what's that extra 25% for? That's to build your coin bag. That's right. You're dumping back into the actual coin. So instead of making 100% on it, or 2x, or 1.5 or half a x, from this point, you're making a little less. But you're doing this 20 times a month. If you happen to make $100, that may be only $2,000 a month, but you're keeping the generational wealth of the coin. And if it ever decide that it's not something you want to do anymore, then simply make small trades out when times are going good and recoup your trades as you go. Teaching this to a single individual is not going to make much of a difference except to that single individual. Secondly, having about 10% of your members doing this type of trading is incredible. Because this is what will happen. You'll get them aping in more coin. You'll get them taking smaller profits, not to hurt the relativity of the movement. You'll get them keeping a small portion. It doesn't have to be 20, it doesn't have to be 25% they keep in. It could be 10. But as long as it's something, you're adding to the coin bag. And then finally, you're changing their mentality because they're not shitting themselves every time they take a drop. Because what happens if this market value goes in and decides, no, I decide I'm not going to do it? Do they get all freaky and take it for a loss? The answer is no, because as your coin, what you're doing as a community is you're constantly working for the up. You're working with other whales, you're working with influencers, you're working with doing rating. You're constantly working the process. You're creating utility to your coin. You should be always on a trend going up, coming down, going up, coming down, and going up. Each new divisional track you get into, that means trading in is going to be a little harder each time. But you're still going to get the same amount of worth if you look at coins at that value. You may not be able to buy a whole soul with and get the same amount of coin structure. So you just got to accept the reality that you're going to be going up, but then so will your bag wealth. All right. So far, I love what I see. I love what I see with the people that I've been talking to so far. You got a tremendous amount of people in your group. There is just a wholehearted feel of how much you guys appreciate this. I love the fact that you're doing this for, a charity event in this process. I love the Chris Hansen thing. Catch a predator mentality, catch a cheat. That's amazing. I love it. I'm a comedian myself. I love the process there. You guys have done a really great job. I hope I haven't bored you to fucking tears. But what I can tell you is that I come into community, I buy into the project. I'm not a whale. I'm only going to be buying less than a soul in the process. I can build systems, make videos. I usually only ever ask for supply if you guys want to give me supply. But if you guys give me supply to help do all this stuff, I always keep it in the coin. And there's even a point, once I get to a certain point of wealth in the process, like I've made money, I burn that original supply. And the reason why I do that is because that's how much I'll believe in the project when we do. So whatever supply you do give me, it will stay into a bag, an untradeable bag, because I believe in putting your money where your mouth is and making it work. All right. So that's my time. I appreciate you. I kept it under 20 minutes, I hope. We'll see you next time. I'm Trader Max, and I have this saying at the end of every one of my videos. And it's something my dad told me a long time ago: the best revenge is living well. So I've sort of altered that for my trading style. So I always say, and as always, trade well. Have a great night, and I'll see you soon.